going on, everybody? C4 here, and today we're going to be taking a look at my ups and downs from the NFL Combine for the offensive player groups. We're going to start from offensive line, go all the way down to the tight ends who are just finishing up as I started to record this. 20 players we're going to talk about today, kind of saying if they improved their draft stock, if they killed their draft stock, and everything in between. Without further ado, jumping right into the offensive line group, we're not ranking Quentin Nelson because he had an injury that I believe affected his drills, but he put up 35 on the bench press, solidified himself as a legitimate top 10 talent, one of the safest prospects in this year's draft class. But his drills did look kind of meh, but he reported that he tweaked something. He didn't run his 40. Because of that, I'm just excusing him from this list. So the first stop for the offensive lineman is Colton Miller, the tackle from UCLA at 6'8", a 4.95, 40, 24 reps on the bench press. Kind of, everyone knew he would test well athletically. His tapes, he's probably, I had coming in as like a fringe top 5 tackle. And I think with the downs that we're going to talk about here from one of the offensive linemen, he's probably shot himself up a lot of people's draft lists, and they're intrigued by the athletic prospect right there in Colton Miller, but definitely helped his draft stock out. Number 2 is Will Hernandez, the offensive guard from UTEP, was pretty much a consensus number 2 guard behind Quentin Nelson. 37 reps on the bench press. He's one of the meanest offensive guards, one of the best run blocking guards coming out of college for the last couple of years. But he's kind of stubby, kind of stout. Everyone thought he wasn't going to test well athletically and show off that he was a good athlete. Ended up running a 5.15 40-yard dash and looked really, really well and explosive in his drill. So I definitely think he helped his draft stock out massively. Up number 3 is Connor Williams, the tackle from Texas. 5.05 in the 40, 26 reps on the bench press. And for the tackle spot, there's no safe prospect in this year's draft class, but it kind of was a logjam at the top as to who the top tackle in this year's draft class goes to be. Connor Williams, Orlando Brown, Chukwuma Okorafor, everyone else in between. And I think after this combine performance, Connor Williams has very much solidified himself as the top tackle in this year's draft class. And the down for the offensive line group is probably the biggest down out of any position we're going to talk about, and that is Orlando Brown, the tackle from Oklahoma. Originally was my number 2 tackle, ran a 5.85 40, 14 reps on the bench press, and was sloppy during his drills. Literally one of the worst combine performances I've ever seen, and drastically inserted his stock. He's not going to fall to the 4th or 5th round or something like that. I can still see him going in the 2nd round because the upside is still there. But when you test that bad and you look that limited of an athlete, it's not good for your draft stock. And I think you could pretty much write him out unless something drastically changes between now and his pro day. You could pretty much write him out of the 1st round. It kind of comes back onto his advisory. I don't know if it's the coach or whatever's in his ear, but you should have told him if you knew he was gonna test like this. Should have just said, man, let's just wait till your pro day. You might get some more favorable numbers. So that's the offensive line group. Moving to the running backs. Up number 1, clearly it's going to be Saquon Barkley, an absolute freak. 4.40 40, 29 reps on the bench press, 41-inch vertical. We're not going to talk about it too much, but I've said countless times he's the best running back prospect that I've scouted since I've kind of been, in quotations, scouting players here on YouTube, and he proved every bit of it at the combine. He's the number 1 pound-for-pound player in this year's draft class. Easy. Up number 2 is Nick Chubb from Georgia. 4.52 40, 29 reps on the bench press. Everyone kind of moves Sony Michel here ahead of Nick Chubb for the Georgia running backs, myself included. But Nick Chubb is here to remind us, all right, if his medical passes out, he is going to be a very good running back in the NFL. And those numbers definitely surprised me. It certainly helped him get into, maybe fringe top 3 running back. He might be the guy after Geis and Barkley that could get his name up in there. Up number 3 for the running backs is Ranchod Penny from San Diego State at 225 pounds. Did some punt returns. I knew he might test better than expected, but a 4.46 was a very good time here for Ranchod Penny. Didn't test so well in the bench press and stuff like that, but he looked really, really smooth in his drills. So because he had the surprising 40-yard dash time and looked as good as pretty much any other running back during the open field drills, which you don't want to put a whole lot of stock into that, he is getting an up. And where I kind of had it as a fringe top 10 running back when I was doing my rankings, even though I said it would definitely change after the combine, he's very much on that list right now. The only down for the running back group was Mark Walton from Miami, who I said at the very beginning of the college season was my sleeper for this year's draft class, running a 4.6 40. Definitely looks faster on tape. Might have a better, little bit of a number there at his pro day, but certainly hurt his draft stock being the fact that he's under 210 pounds and running a 4.6, not very good. Looking at the quarterbacks, no real ups and downs really. Baker Mayfield's an up, 4.84, looked excellent in his drills. Josh Rosen is up, 4.92, excellent in his drills. Looks like, the undisputed QB1. Josh Allen was really good, 4.75. The Carson Wentz comp grows more by the day. Absolutely huge arm, which everyone knew. And the only down I can give for the quarterbacks right now is just Sam Darnold because he didn't throw. I think when every other quarterback Be it, I mean, Lamar Jackson had some shaky throws, had surprisingly much better footwork than I expected. There was ups and downs with Lamar Jackson, definitely more good than bad. But when all these, Jackson, Mayfield, Rosen out, all these guys are throwing, and Darnold's the one guy goes, I kind of want to wait for the scripted plays at my pro day. It kind of, for me, goes to the character. Like, it's not drastically going to change his draft stock or anything crazy like that. But for me, when I'm looking at competitors, I want to see guys that, when they hear that every other big-name quarterback's going to be throwing, I want to see the guy that says, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to look better than every single one. Like, kind of the Baker Mayfield attitude about this thing. Whereas Darnold, I kind of hold that against him there a little bit. Moving on to the wide receivers, we have 3 ups and 2 downs. Up number 1 is DJ Chark from LSU at almost 6'4". Ran a 4.34, 40-inch vertical, had a really good Senior Bowl, and I think his draft stock from the Senior Bowl to now has probably been helped out more than any other player in the draft. And I think he's probably worked his way maybe into late second round consideration. For sure will be gone between rounds 2 and rounds number 3. Up number 2 is DJ Moore from Maryland. Wasn't sure how fast he was going to be, running a 4.42. Looked really nice in the drills, really smooth hands. He probably, if I had to have one guy that's not the Calvin Ridley type that could somehow, Sutton slip into the first round, it might be DJ Moore. He could be my outside guy that I think a lot of teams are really, really valuing him, kind of comparing him to like the Golden Tate slot guys. Very interesting to see there. And up number 3 is Antonio Callaway from Florida, who ran a 4.41 and actually looked really good in the drills. Has one of the worst football IQs I've ever seen as a Gator fan. And maybe a little bit salty that he missed all of the 2017 season because of the credit card fraud. He looked good, though. I mean, he did everything he needed to do to try to get himself to get drafted in that Joe Mixon territory, rounds 3, rounds 4. And, it's going to be interesting to see how his career pans out. Down number 1 for the wide receivers is Marcel from Oklahoma State, who looked really fast on tape at 6'4", like a big body wide receiver, ending up running a 4.62 and looked pretty average in the drills. I definitely think he hurt his draft stock here from the combine. And down number 2 is Jamon Moore from Mizzou, who ran a 4.6 as well and looked average in drills. I've not been as high as him as some of the other mock websites. A lot of mock websites have had Jamon Moore in their top 10. I was like, I don't think about that. His tape didn't really match up that well to me. I feel like Drew Lock helped him out a little bit there. And a bad combine for me, he's definitely going to be staying off my top 10 list. And finishing up here with the tight ends, up number 1 is going to be Mike Gesicki from Penn State. Ran a 4.55 40 and had a 41-inch vertical. I thought for sure he's going to run the 4.7, something like that. And the fact that he put up, like, definitely the most shocking numbers I've seen out of any player for pause. I mean, maybe Rashad Penny. I didn't know Rashad Penny was going to put up that kind of number. At a 4.46, I kind of had him pegged as like a high 4.5, mid 4.5, but definitely Mike Gesicki probably has vaulted himself into tight end 1 consideration. I've had Mark Andrews from Oklahoma as my number 1 tight end. He ran like 4.59, definitely tested well for him as well. But I think when Gesicki is that much better than what I expected, and you see him kind of looking like a little bit like the college Zach Ertz, I think Gesicki might have had the biggest move for me on my personal rankings outside of like Orlando Brown getting dropped down a little bit. Up number 2 for the tight end spot is Dallas Goedert, who didn't run a 40 because he's still recovering from injury, but the South Dakota State tight end who everyone knew, human highlight reel. Watch his YouTube. His catching, his wide receiver ability, his catching ability is as good as any tight end that I've seen over the last couple of years, but he's one of those guys like, how is he in terms of strength? How is he going to be able to hold up in terms of a blocker? Well, we don't know the blocking answer. The fact that he put up 23 reps on the bench press, which is number 1 for any tight end this year, definitely has helped out his draft stock a little bit, and I assume he'll have a pro day where he can run a 40. It was definitely him and Lamar Jackson, the two most disappointing players for me in terms of like I wanted to watch their 40 and they didn't run, which kind of sucked. Downs for the tight end, not really any big downs, but Hayden Hurst running a 4.69 and Ian Thomas from Indiana running a 4.75. A little bit, lower than what I expected, and higher, a little bit higher than what I expected. I thought both those guys might be able to challenge for the 4.5 range for being, pretty much regarded as like a receiving tight end in this year's draft class. But it doesn't really hurt them that bad, so I didn't want to, clearly make them a down. There's no rule of downs. I think the tight end group and the quarterback group performed very, very well. So there you go, guys, man. I'd say overall MVP for this year's combine, at least from Friday to Saturday, I'm going Wildcat. You follow me on Twitter. It's not even going to be an offensive player. They showed the bench press of the linebackers. They showed the bench press of UCF linebacker Shaquem Griffin. And it got me fired up, man. It literally happened right before I recorded this video. And he's getting my MVP of the weekend. It's one of those things, man. I see people on Twitter saying, why is this guy getting attention? He's not that good just because he has, he's missing a limb, missing an arm, missing a hand. He's getting all this time and he's a media circus and all this stuff. It's a gimmick. But I think ultimately, man, the fact he put up 20 reps on the bench press at being, 220, something like that, was very impressive. But I think because of the hand, because he's missing it, because he used a prosthetic to do the bench press. I more so see like he deserves that attention because he is going to be an inspiration and a role model to kids out there that may have similar handicaps and think that man, I really like football, but I can't play it. You don't see anyone in the NFL with prosthetic and this and that. He's going to be an absolute inspiration for players because he's definitely playing on Sunday. I know the Philadelphia Eagles need linebacker depth. Would not hate drafting him. I mean, obviously there are limitations, getting off blocks and stuff like that. But I think that, for a mid-late round, I would very much welcome on the Philadelphia Eagles. He's definitely going to be playing on Sundays. Incredibly inspirational, and I'm definitely... Him and Lamar Jackson are probably the two guys from this process from Lamar. Lamar constantly getting badgered about is he going to play wide receiver to what Shaquem Griffin did. They're probably the two guys that I'm pulling for the most. And yeah, that's the offensive combine. Let me know what you guys think. Who are your guys' ups? Who were your guys' downs from this opening couple days here of the offense? We'll return and talk about the defensive guys on Monday. So thank you guys for watching. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, hit that subscribe button. This is going to be Draft Central for the next couple months. Until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.